Public meetings don't have to be awkward. If people leave confused or frustrated, the open house didn't do its job. So let's talk about 5 ways transportation teams can host open houses that feel welcoming, spark real conversations, and actually help projects move forward.
We don't host open houses because it's a requirement. We host them because they're essential to informing our work.
As transportation planners, we collect traffic counts, crash data, and modeling results. But residents bring lived experience to us.
I care first and foremost because I live in this community. I utilize this area. My kids utilize this area.
They know where crossings feel safe, where congestion actually occurs and affects day-to-day life, or where their kids walk to school. Open houses also help build trust. Even if people don't agree with every project recommendation, they are much more likely to support it if they feel heard and included.
If a project moves forward without clear public support or without documentation showing how community's input shaped the outcomes, it's very difficult for that project to succeed. So an open house, it's not just an event, it's part of decision making. It's how we test our ideas, identify issues, and ensure that the projects reflect the needs and values of people it's meant to serve.
The tone really starts before the event itself. The invitation, website flyers, and outreach materials all shape expectations. If the messaging feels welcoming, clear, and easy to understand, people will already walk in feeling welcome, comfortable, and more engaged. Small things make a huge difference too. Name tags, accessible layouts, multilingual materials, refreshments, and making sure staff are approachable rather than standing behind tables.
Internally, you need to be prepared to hear criticism and feedback that may challenge your assumptions. We also need to recognize that attending an open house can feel unfamiliar or uncomfortable to the majority of people that are showing up. A practical step I like to take is to greet people as they arrive. Introduce myself, learn their name, get a quick sense of why they're there. That early interaction helps establish a baseline of respect, and it makes the conversation more personal. Using someone's name when responding to a question may seem small, but it also signals that you're listening, and it shifts the interaction from transactional to human.
Open houses work best when they feel like conversations rather than lectures.
I like to think about them more like a dinner party than a formal presentation. Everyone is there for a common reason, but not everyone is informed or knows everybody in the same capacity. The key is to start with people, not the project, asking simple questions like, where do you live? How do you get around? How was your day? These human-level questions help ground conversations in real experiences, and that often matter more than just jumping straight into the technical details.
Interactive activities help a lot. Things like comment maps, sticky doc exercises, visual preference boards, or asking people to identify concerns directly on aerials or corridor maps. Those tools naturally start conversations.
When it comes to visuals at open houses, we're usually talking about presenting information or a project to a community and gathering feedback in a productive way. So we want the visuals to be easy to understand and oriented around the room in a way that makes sense. These visuals can be hung up on walls, on posters, they can be posted on stands, or they can even be laid flat on tables so we can easily collaborate on the topic. In all cases, creating some sort of engaging or interactive element can be really useful if you want direct feedback from the people you're talking to. This can be through sticky notes for like short answers, or some type of voting system with stickers or marbles in a jar. People want to be collaborative in things that affect their own community, and this is one way of getting that good feedback. Overall, when I'm working on open house materials, I focus on making them easily skimmable and graphical, so they're easy to understand and comprehend for anybody, no matter the technical knowledge that they have. To do this, I make sure that the boards are easy to follow by making the most important thing on the board the first thing you see. In addition, I make sure that they're graphical by avoiding big blocks of text and adding in images or icons. I think one of the best things you can do prior to an open house is test print all of your materials. This will give you a better idea of how the things will be used, where they should go around the room, and sizing and proportions of the poster.
The feedback we get through open houses is valuable because the people we engage with are often the people who live, work, and play and know those communities the best.
The key is to capture feedback in ways that are really actionable. Broad questions like any comments usually do not generate a lot of useful information. More focused questions tend to work better, like asking people where they feel unsafe crossing or which improvements they would prioritize the most. I think combining multiple methods works best. Conversations, surveys, comment maps, online engagement tools all come together and make a project successful. Then, afterward, it is really important to show people that their feedback influenced the project. That closes the loop and builds trust in the process.
I think a lot of people would be uncomfortable if they had to provide the feedback in front of others. This is nice that it's very discreet. If you don't want people to know that it's your feedback, they don't need to know that it's your feedback. So I like that about it.
Providing different ways to participate, like written comments, online tools, and conversations, help make engagement more inclusive in nature.
If you understand what matters to someone, you can frame the project in a way that's most relevant to them. Those priorities may differ, but there's almost always a common shared theme: safety, reliability, quality of life. You can't manufacture support where it doesn't exist, but you can clearly explain the benefits, acknowledge that there's trade-offs, and show how the project aligns with broader community vision and goals.
People respond more positively when they can visualize outcomes. Safer crossings, better sidewalks, easier access to parks or schools, reduced congestion, or more comfortable spaces for walking and biking.
The thing I see most often overlooked as transportation professionals is how unfamiliar these processes can be for people attending an open house.
We are used to technical terminology, LOS tables, modeling outputs, and engineering language, but that can feel overwhelming to the public. People usually care more about how a project affects their day-to-day life and experience rather than the technical details behind it. Some small changes can make a huge difference. Simplifying graphics, reducing text, using more visuals, creating interactive displays, offering translation services, and making space for one-on-one conversations instead of formal presentations.
People don't typically understand timelines, phasing, or how long it takes to implement a project. There's a tendency to assume that what's being shown is going to be built in the near term or without further input. So being clear upfront about where the project is in its process, it makes a significant difference. It also reduces confusion and reduces general nervousness.
So let's recap. If you want to host a successful open house, you need to set the tone beforehand, make it a conversation, use easy to understand visuals, capture feedback that's actually constructive, and leave people feeling optimistic. If content like this improves your work, subscribe for more.